Hello everyone and welcome to WhiskyWars. Today I'm really excited to bring this review to you. Two Campbeltown whiskies from the Springbank distillery. This is Campbeltown's most peated distillery, and I love these whiskies. So today we have the Springbank 12 Cask strength bottled at 56.1% and the Springbank 15 bottled at 46%. Now, I would imagine the Springbank 15 is just bottled in been aged in ex-bourbon barrels. With the 12 Cask strength, I would imagine it's got sherry influence in there. Today will be a review of two of the most unique whiskies and also most potent, weird tasting whiskies that I've ever tried. And I think they're amazing. They're really hard to get hold of at the minute. I'll quickly touch on the price. The Springbank 12 Cask strength I paid £65 for. I believe when they are readily available they're a little bit cheaper actually, around £55 in the UK. The Springbank 15 cost me slightly more. I believe I paid low 60s. No, I think actually I paid just under £60 for this bottle. So roughly speaking, they're both around £60 in the UK. This was, luckily the shop I went to, this was a bottle they had in the back room, waiting for someone that had ordered it 5 months prior, but never came to pick it up. So really lucky to get hold of this whiskey. And a similar experience with the 12 Cask strength. I actually got it in Ireland. I couldn't find it in England. So yeah, not the easiest to get hold of, but if you can, really worth the experience. And I actually think this will be a lot like Marmite. I think most people won't enjoy Springbank whiskies. So I'm not telling you to go out there and to spend your hard-earned money on this on Springbank whiskies, because I can't promise you'll like it. What I can promise you is an experience that you've not had, and I think sometimes that's worth the money even if you don't like the experience. Anyway, let's crack on and start with the nosing of the 15 year. Where to begin? I think for me the primary note of these whiskies is burnt matchstick. That's the best analogy I've got. If you strike a match and then blow it out and then smell, that's the nose on the Springbank. A lot more to it, but that's a key component of it in my opinion. I also think there's a strong engine oil, battery acid, some sort of weird chemical plant smell. Probably sounds awful what I'm describing so far, but I promise you it's really pleasant. And there's this sweetness that comes through it. I think a strong lime presence in there. Definitely something citrus. And I also think in the 15 year I get an exotic fruit, maybe like a papaya coming through on the back end of this whiskey. And now I'm starting to get a little bit of nuts in there as well. Maybe like a hazelnut. The 12 Cask strength is similar but completely different. The burnt matchstick, that chemical plant smell is there, but incredibly sherried. I no longer get papaya, lime, or nuts. I get pure sherry notes in there. Like a fruit compote. Molasses. Maybe a hint of raisin. dates, some sort of sickly sweet raisin or date on the back end of that, but fully sherried, burnt matchstick, and a weird chemical note that you will get from Springbanks. Anyway, I could go on for a long time. These are incredibly complex whiskies, and I think I want to keep the review quite short. I know they turn out to be around 10 minutes long usually, but I could go on and on. But maybe I'd let you decide when you try these whiskies to do all that, because you can go hunting for days on these whiskies. Anyway, onto the taste. The 15 is a little bit lighter on the nose, I think, probably because of that sherry cask it doesn't have. The taste is very, very similar to the nose. However, I would say it's a little bit less sweet than the nose. And it adds a little bit of menthol to the taste. And there's something really bitter, and I think it's a herb, but I can't put my finger on what it is. That nut influence is getting stronger though on the taste. It's a really exciting whiskey. Onto the cask strength. I believe this whiskey was the second half of 2020. I think it's that edition, which I believe is a good one. And I don't want to drink the bottle because I like it too much. It is certainly in my top 5 whiskies that I've owned. And I'm coming close to 100 bottles. Fabulous. Really, really, really nice. Really nice. Which do I prefer? I think if you're not a fan of too much sherry, you will prefer the 15 year. More nutty and a little bit of tropical fruit coming through. The Springbank 12 cask strength eliminates those notes for me, and the lime doesn't have those 3 notes. Instead it replaces it with a lot of sherry, molasses, fruit compote, maybe some raisin and dates. And actually, the similarities, normally you get more differences than similarities. I think you get more similarities, but the differences are huge, even though it's only a few differences, if that makes sense. I think that's what's really cool about Springbank. I think a Springbank is always going to be a Springbank, which I quite like. They have their own DNA that's really evident. For me, I love both of these whiskies, but I think I do prefer the cask strength on this occasion. And again, I'm not a cask strength guy actually. In many cases, I prefer the lower proof bottling to the cask strength. But in this case, even though it's 3 years younger, it's been aged a little bit differently, and I think it's an amazing whiskey. It really is. Both of these are amazing, but I do prefer the cask strength bottling. And considering they were roughly the same price, for me it's quite an easy one. The Springbank 12 cask strength wins today. And hopefully I've kept it quite short and sweet for the review. So if you like the video, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Sharing the video with friends is always really, really appreciated. And I hope to see you all for the next Whiskey War.